feeling good, press 1. Like type 1 on the chat box. How is that?
And today is World Happiness Day.
Great. Oh, really? I didn't even know that. That's great. Wow. So, whoa, what's this 10010? So, you're feeling good, not feeling good, feeling good, feeling good. Interesting. Binary happiness. Wow, that's interesting. Well, it's a Saturday, so I understand. Okay, great. So let's start. It's good that a lot of people are feeling good. Some are feeling binary happiness, but feel good. At least it's not completely negative. So welcome to the 6th soft skill series of the Global Shapers community. We've been doing this, and this is the 6th one on the 4th industrial revolution and global awareness. My name is Hassan. I'll be the kind of MC for today, if you like. And of course, we have a very, very special guest to take us through, this topic. I don't think there's anyone actually better to go through this with him. So let me just go through his kind of bio for anyone, highly unlikely, that doesn't know him. And then we'll just get straight in. So, so Japheth Omojuwa, Japheth Joshua Omojuwa, aka J.J Omojuwa, is a Nigerian blogger, author, public speaker, socioeconomic, political commentator, and social media expert. A columnist with the Punch newspaper, leadership newspaper, and Niger.com. Omojuwa's articles have appeared on CNN, This Day, and other platforms across the continent. His work has been repeatedly translated into several languages, including various platforms for German, French, Portuguese, and Greek audiences. In 2012, Niger.com named him one of the most influential young Nigerians under 35 in business, fashion, media, entertainment, technology, politics, with writer Afrique Young describing him in particular as the king of the click. He has millions of followers in social media. Omojuwa was named by Credit Suisse Bulletin as one of the 50 movers and shakers of Africa in 2015. In 2016, Omojuwa was named the best Twitter personality of the year in the annual African Bloggers Award. The 2016 African Bloggers Award was sponsored by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This is straight from his Wikipedia page. So this is why I said there's literally no one better to go through this topic of fourth industrial revolution and global awareness. So thank you so much. It's so good to have you once again.
The pleasure is mine, Hassan.
Yeah, and I think, the floor is yours. You can just go straight in.
Thank you very much. Let me just start by saying, do not believe everything you read about me, especially on the internet, even if it's on Wikipedia. Okay. But yeah, it's such a pleasure to be here. The last time I had a formal engagement with Global Shapers Kano was about 4 years ago when we were physically present. Of course, the world has changed vastly since then. And I'm also thinking that for a lot of us, our lives have also been changed. I'm hoping that that's been generally in the positive direction. The conversation is the fourth industrial revolution. This conversation could not be more apt for the times that we are in. I don't intend to market my book, but there's no way I'd have this conversation without mentioning my book. When I released my book in 2019, there were certain, that's Digital, the New Code of Wealth. There were certain things that I mentioned in the book that I was expecting and hoping that they would happen about a decade from the time the book was being released. So say 2029. Then the following year, 2020, something happened that made it look like some of the things that I said in the book made it look like I was a prophet, because the advancements and the changes in the world that I had anticipated started to happen massively. And now we're in a world where even those that never thought of a world with respect to the effects and the consequences and outcomes of the fourth industrial revolution were more or less dragged into it. They were forced into it. Now we have normalized engagements like this, where initially it would have been that I would have to travel to Kano and people would have to gather in a hall to join this conversation. Now this is normal. And even though the time would come when the coronavirus would be reversed and we'll start to gather again, we will not see conversations, virtual conversations, as some otherworldly thing, the way that we sort of saw them generally. I want all of us to start thinking about the world as it is changing, because what happens is that more often than not, you do not see yourself. So I have a particular car that I drive, and I really, really like this car. But no matter how much I like this car, I never see the beauty of the car when I'm driving it. But when I see somebody else driving it, when I'm like, oh my God, this car is so beautiful. Is this how I look when I'm driving this car? Because this car is so beautiful. I say that because we're in a world that is changing and continues to change, except for those of us that are reflective, those of us that are contemplative, we actually do miss it. That's understandable. In the midst of your hustle, trying to pay your rent and your bills, trying to get scholarships, trying to get good grades, trying to marry, trying to have kids, different advancements. It's very unlikely that you would take the time out to just reflect on a world that continues to change. But let me just say here that if you want to thrive, if you want to be at the helm of things, at the helm of leadership, and I don't just mean leadership in terms of an office, I mean leadership in terms of you being a bona fide leader, you've got to find time for reflection. Really and truly, the difference between greatness and extraordinary people and regular people is the reflection. Those that take their time to reflect. About 10 years ago, most people had BlackBerry phones, and they would ask you for your PIN, and you would give them your PIN, and you would exchange pins, and you'd have conversations via BlackBerry. Today, it's primarily WhatsApp. I don't know how many people even have time to send SMS. In fact, most of my calls, I make them via WhatsApp call. And it's not because I don't have extra money for data. That's not to say, for instance, that by 2029, it's going to be WhatsApp at the top of this game. The work could have changed drastically. Probably you'd be making calls via Twitter, or Twitter would also have been reversed. Now people are having, this conversation could have been had on Clubhouse, for instance, right? And the effect is across the board. There's effect in advocacy, in activism, in governance, in business, generally in public spaces, generally in private spaces. And if you're not paying attention, you just wake up and see that the world has moved on. And the effect is also such that some jobs are disappearing, some jobs are appearing. We were taught shorthand in secondary school. One of the best Nigerian schools, actually, the best Nigerian secondary school, actually, King's College, Lagos. If you disagree, well, I have the mic right now, so I'm the one speaking. We were taught shorthand. Now, since I left secondary school, I've never had reason to use shorthand. Could they have used that time to teach us coding? I don't think that would have been a bad idea. The time we were using to teach us shorthand, could they have used that time to teach us coding? These are the kind of questions the Nigerian educational system needs to start questioning and answering. If you use an old dog to chase a fresh hare, the dog will not catch that hare because that hare is new, it's young. Nigeria is using an old dog to chase a young hare. The hare is fast, the dog is old. You need a fast dog, a fast young dog to chase a young hare. The reason why what I'm basically saying is that our educational system that was designed for people to cram and dump has to now change from that to a design where people are made to think. Because the scoring system rewards those that can cram. The scoring system rewards those that can cram. What we must pay attention to is to build a system to reward those that can think. And that's important. At the turn of independence, those that could cram, were needed to fill up civil service spaces because Nigeria was primarily a civil service economy. As the world increasingly changes, where across the world, the most prosperous countries are not countries where government is the highest employer of labor, but private individuals and corporations. We now know that building an economy of crammers, an economy of civil service, like a mass soldier thing, no longer works. You now need to build an economy where people can think. And to do that, first of all, you've got to overhaul the educational system. You've got to overhaul the curriculum. And when I say overhaul, with respect to Nigeria, it's almost an entire destruction of the old to bring the new to bear. Because what we currently have is answering questions that are what we currently have is answering questions that the world is no longer asking those questions. The questions the world is asking. Can you hear me? Someone says they can't hear me. Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, because someone said they couldn't hear me. So our educational system is, of course, answering questions, but the questions it is answering were questions that used to be asked of it in the 70s and in the 60s. Now, the world, the global economy is asking new questions, but the answer that our educational system is providing is still the same old questions. The music has changed, but we are dancing to the old song. I say that knowing that we don't generally have lawmakers here, we don't have the people that run the educational system here, but I say that knowing that the average person here will likely hold office, and if things don't change by the time you hold office, just understand that even by the time you hold office, things will probably have even changed. To understand that the world continues to change, the world continues to evolve. The reason why we're having a conversation about the fourth industrial revolution was because there was a first, there was a second, there was a third, the fourth is in active play. By the end of this decade, the fifth industrial revolution would have arrived. But we are running an economy that continues to pretend that we're still in the second industrial revolution, right? And having said that, when I was in university, I used to sit down with my university mates and I used to tell them that I don't know how much of the internet that they were using. I don't know how much of the internet they were paying attention to, but whatever they were being taught now was already a waste of time because the world is not trying to judge them based on those things that they were being taught. That they needed to start paying attention to how the world was changing by primarily engaging Google and just asking all sorts of questions. That way, when you leave school, you can quietly and easily fit into the global economy. A lot of people are running out of Nigeria to get jobs abroad. You know, they go abroad, they get jobs, and they live an okay life. You know, okay. But have you imagined living in Nigeria and earning $5,000 or $10,000 per month, depending on how much you're currently earning? It means that when the Nigerian economy is dancing anyhow, you're not bothered because you're earning dollars. If the Naira goes up or the Naira goes down to your earning, it's not your business because you're earning a global currency. To conveniently be in a position where you can earn the USD or pounds conveniently, you've got to take yourself to a place where you can solve problems around the world, irrespective of where you find yourself. So I can be here in Lagos and I can be coding for a company in America. I can be here, I can be there in Kano, and I can be providing solutions for a company in Australia. I can be there in Hadejia, and I can be providing solutions for a company in Luxembourg. And I'm not talking Yahoo, I'm talking about genuine solutions that have to do with the fact that the fourth industrial revolution has handed us a borderless world, a world where your visa, you don't need a visa to access opportunities anymore. And when I say you don't need a visa, I don't mean that visas have disappeared. I mean that, well, initially to access those opportunities, you absolutely needed a visa. Today, you don't absolutely need a visa to be in that position. Yeah, I mean, I need to make that clear because, of course, Yahoo also does that. Yeah, but today you actually do not need a visa. Initially, people married by people introducing someone to someone at parties. Some parents meet and they say, okay, you meet my son or you meet my daughter. There was generally a physical engagement to this thing. These days, for those of you that are very used to social media, you actually find out that, you might not admit it, but you actually find out that the people that you engage with on social media, you feel closer to them There are people that you probably even live in the same flat with, or people that you probably even attend the same school with, if those people are not on social media with you. The reason is because we actually forget that the strength of relationships is communication. Find out, somebody's mic is speaking into this. Can you please mute your mic if you're the person? The strength of relationships is communication. Find out any marriage, any relationship that broke down, it starts to break down from the points where people don't talk to each other or have conversations like they used to. No relationship breaks down if they are constantly engaging and constantly talking. Because we humans are built on conversations. Our feelings, our emotions, our psychology is built on conversations. So if, for instance, a man has a wife at home and the wife does not use Instagram, the wife does not use Twitter, and the man is constantly talking to another woman on Instagram and Twitter, and they are constantly talking, they're talking every day. If they do that for a month, that man will start to feel like this other person that he's talking to every day is more in tune with the person. That's a bias, of course. That's not true. That's a bias that has been formed out of the fact that they were communicating every time. I made that point because the internet, these platforms, they've actually made the world much smaller. So much so that you can be meeting someone for the first time. You can travel to Berlin for the first time. You can be meeting someone at the airport for the first time, and then you guys are kissing. That would not happen before, except you guys were pen pals. But even with the pen pals, you would have exchanged loads of letters. I know the difficulty of these letters at the time. If you're lucky for them to arrive after 4 weeks that they were sent, good for you, right? So it would have taken a lot for you to meet your pen pal, and then all of a sudden you're kissing. I'm using that example because people don't like to admit it, but people understand things better when you use things like kissing and sex. Sorry, but that's what it is. So the reason why it can happen now is because before you guys meet at that airport, let's say you're inviting that person to Kano from, let's say they were in Wales, right? You're inviting them to Kano. Before you brought them into Kano, you guys were exchanging WhatsApp messages, pop, 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 pop. You were exchanging DMs on Instagram, pop, 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 constantly. You were exchanging messages on Twitter. You're having one conversation on Twitter. Maybe you're discussing politics on Twitter. On Instagram, you're discussing some steamy stuff. On WhatsApp, you're actually organizing the meeting, the travels, where to stay, when they come to Kano, blah, blah, blah. The only thing that is not happening is that you're not physically together. But all the fire that needs to happen, all the exchanges, all the energy, all the vibes that need to get something to happen has been built. By the time you guys meet physically, what you get is an explosion. That's also what happens for business. People don't care as much to see you as long as they have clarity as to your personality and to your person. So I have been privileged as a core member. I was earning $1,000 per month from someone in California that, as I speak to you, I still have not met. I was providing solutions for his app that it was building for Africa, and I was giving him ideas in terms of how Africans think, whether they like the app that it was building, telling him to adjust it like this, do it like that, put this, remove that, put this. And I was earning, as a core member, I did not collect my core payments until after, the NYSC allowance. I didn't collect it until after service because I had no need for it. And this is about 12 years, 13 years ago. I had no need for it. And that's made possible because you can actually have a complete personality without your body on the internet. And that was a time when we did not have video calling. People, we take these things for granted. Can you imagine, like I used to imagine back then, 15, 20 years ago, like, can you imagine talking to someone and it's video? But now we're not imagining it. That's our normal now. And when these things become normal, we kind of get used to them, but we cannot afford to get used to them. We must constantly reflect how the world is changing right before our eyes. Because when you do that reflection, then you start to place yourself in a place where you can actually benefit from it. So I have a tech company with people in America that I have never met before. And I have shares in their company. Can you hear me? Am I still on?
Yes,
Hello?
yes, you're on.
Yeah,
you
I
can
have a
hear
tech
you.
company. I have equity in a company with people in America that I've never met before. How is that possible? That's possible because I have a personality on the internet. I have, if they can Google my name, they can know a lot about me. Than people that see me every day that have not read those things, you probably don't know. I have built believability, legitimacy, and trust. So my name has validation on paper. So they can send me an email, we can exchange emails back and forth. And at the end of the day, I can sign a document and be a part owner in their company, delivering a certain value. People I have never met for the company. I do deals for, by the way, I'm saying these things for us to learn. I'm not trying to, like outside of this space, you never hear me say I run it, I have a tech company. I don't have reason to say that. You never hear me like post cars and things like, oh, a house. That I'm saying it to teach, not to brag. That's very important for me. I'm saying it to let you understand what can happen. And really, I think that the best examples are the examples that you pick out of your own experiences. So I needed to make that clear. I have business engagements with people. Right now, I'm discussing business engagements with people that they probably don't know what I look like, except they've checked on Google. Everything has happened by WhatsApp. I've signed deals that did not even go to email at all. Everything happened by WhatsApp, including with Nigerians. So it doesn't look like it's just foreigners, including with Nigerians. Oh, my friend gave me your number, blah, 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 blah. Okay, how much, blah, 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 blah. And everything is completed. I'm making these examples because even though the world is changing right before, most of us are young people, even though most of us are young people, our brains have not adjusted to this world. Our brains have not transited from that other world. And if your brain does not adjust, there are certain things you cannot begin to imagine and think about. You start to be limited by, I need to fly to have this conversation, or I need to go to Abuja to do this. You don't need to. If you build a personality, a presence, if you build an identity in the digital world and build the trust that comes with it and build the legitimacy that comes with it, people don't necessarily have to see you to do business with you. Even in the midst of the perception that comes with being Nigerian. And then you can then use all of that to build agile and resilient platforms. I'm having this conversation from the point of helping everybody to thrive in their business, to thrive in their life, because I spoke about marriage. For instance, madam, your husband is on the internet. You are not on the internet. You are not helping the relationship. It is like somebody that married looking trim, looking a certain way. You guys married looking a certain way. The man, there was no pot belly. You married, you had some, you didn't have six packs, but you didn't have pot belly. The woman, you're looking, he liked you like that. Then you guys married. Let's say the husband now went to grow a pot belly. You're not being fair on your wife. You're not being fair on your wife because that was not who she married. I know the head is still there. If it was not there, why are you the belly? You have a responsibility to constantly, even though you're already dating that person, even though you're already married to that person, you must continue to act like you're still dating that person. You must continue to act like you need to make the person continue to desire you. So bringing it back to the internet, if your man is on the internet, go on the internet with him. If he says no, that's unfortunate. Because on the internet, it's easy for him to be sending DMs. And I'm not saying, when I say sending DMs, not necessarily send DMs to cheat, but if people are engaging people every time, if somebody's engaging someone every time, they don't have to be natural cheaters to start to think of cheating because everything happens from communication. So you cannot put yourself away from those spaces where people are going to be communicating with you. But of course, everything has to happen according to the agreements that you guys have in your spaces. The point I'm trying to make is that do not deprive yourself of these spaces because as much as we have identity and personality offline, our physical self, the world, because of the fourth industrial revolution, we actually have personalities. So I have been to countries I have never been to on account of having a presence and personality on the internet. And it matters because I have been in situations where people reach out to me from abroad and say, this particular person reached out to us from Nigeria that they want us to do this for us. I'm like, okay, actually, I don't know this person, but let me check, let me look for something. And then I go on the internet, I don't see anything about them. I don't see jack about them. I'm like, what? And I'm going to say the truth because whatever I say will affect my own credibility. So I'm going to say, I don't know if this person is legit. I have gone on the internet, I haven't seen anything. I've asked friends, I might know someone that is working in that space, I haven't seen anything. Please be careful. Please be careful. But if I go on the internet, your name pops up on Twitter, your name pops up on Instagram, your business pops up on your website, all of those things, your profile, everything. Some things might be right and wrong if you are like a very, very popular person. But generally, at least there's a presence. There is data. Because the reason why people trust people is because of data. Full stop. Trust is based on data. The more of you I know, the likelier I'm able to trust you to do business with you. So trust is not, I mean, there's the intuitive part of trust. You see some people and you just trust them. There's that intuitive part. But even that intuitive is based on a kind of artificial intelligence, based on the fact that you met people that behave a certain way, and this particular person is giving you that kind of energy. So you kind of trust them. So even that one is based on data from other people that you met before. But generally, on an individual level, trust is built on data. I know where you live. I know what school you went to. I know your friends. I probably went to school with your wife. We worship in the same mosque. We lived together in the UK before. I have built enough data to know that if you go away with my money, I can sue you. You are a human being. Even if I don't know you physically, I have enough data to sue you. The people that are doing businesses with me, the reason why they can do it is because I have enough data for me to be sued. I'm a person on the internet. I have an internet identity. I'm a global citizen. Not because I traveled the world, but because I'm in a global space where my identity has been verified on account of the things I have done, and I've placed those things there. I'm hoping that the things I'm saying your business could be $500 million in 10 years. Because if you check, one of the powers of the fourth industrial revolution is that growth is exponential. Growth is exponential. That's one of the powers of the fourth industrial revolution. That something can be, I mean, what are we talking about? We did not know, Flutterwave did not exist until 2016. Paystack did not exist until 2016. Andela probably did not exist, I think, also in 2016. Today, Flutterwave is worth $1 billion. Andela is probably worth $700 million. Paystack was sold for $200 million last year. Paystack definitely is not worth less than $300 million now. By 2025, Paystack would definitely be worth $1 billion. Because if it was, there would have been a foundation for us now. That like America has gone through a lot of tough times, but there are still certain things that the Americans will always benefit from because Americans built on certain things. Like the British have had their challenges, they continue to have their challenges with Brexit, but they worked over such a long period of time. They can reap from the fruits of those efforts. We have never been that country that consistently worked for several years. So it is upon us as a generation, because more than ever before, there's no better time to be alive. There's no better time to be a young person. There's no better time to be interested in what is happening in the world. Because this is the first time in the history of humanity that I can be living conveniently in Kirby. I live in Kirby, everything in Kirby, but I'm running the world. This is the first time that I can have staff in Adelaide, I can have staff in Sydney, I can have people working for me in Luxembourg, in Caracas, I can have people working for me in Brasilia, I can have people working for me in Antigua, in Guatemala, in Miami, but I live in Kirby because I have built a platform that can work, because the internet makes it work, because we built tools around it for people to access those opportunities from any part of the world. And from that Kirby, I can also decide, okay, I'm tired of running a company. I want to be a staff. I can code. I'm a programmer. Then I want to earn. There are people in Kaduna that are earning massive incomes on account of opportunities like that. That even though they live in Kaduna, although they don't even want to live outside, they don't want to go outside of Kaduna, they don't even want to go as far as Abuja. They are providing value that is helping them attract as much as $10,000, $15,000 every quarter, in certain cases, maybe even every month. And these people can decide, okay, now I want to take this thing abroad. People like that don't fight to get visas. They use visas to beg them. As we speak, the UK has instituted a process where they're trying to attract smart people to their economy. As we speak, Dubai has opened up such a way to attract such people. Of course, Canada is on that. America has always been on that, despite their challenges with their immigration laws. So the point I'm making, to conclude, because I'd rather deal with questions so that I'm not assuming that I'm saying what you want to hear. I'd rather deal with questions. The point I'm making is, when you understand this fourth industrial revolution and you reflect on the change that is happening, which will give you the capacity to anticipate the change that will happen, which will help you build platforms and businesses that will take these opportunities, you now have the freedom to decide, you know what, I'm from Yola, I don't want to leave Yola. But you won't suffer because you live in Yola, even though the Yola economy might be poor, because you're tuned and plugged to a global economy. And then you can decide, okay, now I want to go and live in Ecuador. And you're not going to be like, I'm not going to get visa. No, because the world is now in such a place where everybody is desperate to attract talent, irrespective of their passport. So you can say, okay, I want to go and live in Dubai, irrespective of whether you have influence or not. Just because you know the right things, you have some values that some companies somewhere are desperate to have on their board. In the midst of Nigeria's unemployment figures, I'm looking at the Nigeria unemployment figures, people that are out of jobs. Nigeria's biggest problems, anybody that runs the company will agree with me. Nigeria's biggest problem is not that we have people that are unemployed. It's that we have people that are unemployable. So there's lots of water, but you cannot even drink it. There's water everywhere, but you can't drink it because the water is not potable. So there are people everywhere who are jobless, but they can't even work when you have the job because they are not skilled. So when you are skilled, you have such an advantage in an economy like this and globally. So to build the skills, it's funny because the same places that we're talking about are places that will help you build those skills. Like one of my relatives said he was admitted to university. He said he was going to study sociology. I said, well, that's beautiful. I said, the best advice I'll give you is what I'll give you right now. It happened to me by accident. I don't want it to happen to you by accident. In your 4 years of schooling, doing that sociology, learn programming. Learn how to code. If you need to start attending a school after school, tell me, I will give you the money. Learn programming because that's the language of your future. This person is 19. That's the language. You cannot not learn programming. It's good to now learn how to speak better. It's good to now learn presentation skills, how to manage emotional intelligence. All of these things are important for that future. But to be able to code, to have certain skills now will help you thrive in the 2030s and the 2040s. And those times are ahead of us. Recently, 3 days ago, somebody told me that someone like me, for instance, I still have 50 years to live. I didn't realize that I actually still possibly have 50 years to live because by 50 years, I'll just be closing in on 90. And I was like, wow, I didn't even think that I had up to 50 years to live. So we are at the beginning of something, not at the end. We are the ones to pay attention to how the world is evolving and changing. And beyond using the opportunities and tools, we must now begin to ask ourselves, how do we fit in? Sometimes you follow the trends. Sometimes you follow the trends. You're not the one that creates the trend, you follow the trend. Sometimes you create the trend. That's the best situation to be. But what you never want to do is to be so far behind the trend that you keep missing the train. Our country, our continent constantly misses the train. But as individuals, we cannot afford to do that. And that starts from this conversation and asking the right questions. Now I want questions. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. I think, my head is almost hurting because I was just doing this. I couldn't agree more. It was very, very, very relatable as someone that is also running a business, an international business. I'm here based in Kano, but we have clients in the UK and, we have over 15 employees. A lot of people, when they actually ask me, why are you running it from Kano? Like, how is that even possible? Like, it's better off to go to Lagos or Abuja, but a lot of the things, it's completely wrong. From here, we're able to do everything that any company over there is able to do at a much cheaper rate because of, cheaper labor. So I just couldn't agree more. I agree with every single thing you say, and I think that's very, very valuable. I didn't even know you were going to, this I had no idea about the. Obviously, I knew the topic, but I had no idea about the topic. But it's entirely so relatable. And thank you so much for that. Just one more
The pleasure
thing.
is mine.
There was a time that yeah, there was a time that I was actually fighting with everyone because I said I wanted to come back to Nigeria. Everyone was saying, "Why are you going back to Nigeria? Stay in the UK, do this, do that." Everyone was angry, including my parents, but I just knew that there's so much. Even though I was so naive then, right? Things weren't as I imagined them to be when I came back, but still, coming back was like the best decision that I've made because everything that I was able to achieve over there, I'm able to achieve it here times three and three times faster. And the business is growing. It's a tech business, which is highly unlikely in Kano. To be able to be doing this. So thank you so much for that. I think, as you said, you were using yours as a case study. So I just want to use my situation as well,
Yeah, I
just to
like that
tell
you're doing that
people.
so they can understand it's not just me. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think we'll just move on to the questions. If you have any questions, please type it, or if you prefer to say it, just raise your hands and I will unmute you, and then we can start. Yes, I think we have one. Okay. Yeah, go on, Dr. Hafiz.
All right, thank you very much, Omojuwa. So I'm an enthusiast for soft skills, and this is because these skills are not what you naturally see in a classroom setting. Recently, I saw a job posting from the World Bank, and one of its requirements was global awareness. And I've been trying to wrap my head around how one would actually get to develop the skill, the soft skill, because that's a soft skill. When someone says a requirement is global awareness, so how would you suggest and how would you advise people on how to develop
Global awareness.
their global awareness?
Okay, thank you very much. That's Hafiz, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Hafiz. From what I can intuit from the question in terms of global awareness, that's basically for you to have a sound understanding of global politics, what's happening. Like if I mentioned the word Middle East, for you to be able to tell me how the Middle East has evolved, what's happening with the relationship between Israel and Egypt, how have we arrived in the place where the UAE are now engaging the Israel, the relationship between Qatar and Saudi Arabia, how they blocked them and how those ones decided to be resilient and how everybody's opening their borders again. You can mention what's happening in Yemen? Why are the people fighting in Yemen? What are the consequences? How you need to understand like Shiites and all these other issues in Iraq. You don't necessarily have to understand them in depth because you're not necessarily an expert on that particular aspect, but you need to have an understanding, to come to South America, talk about the effects of America moving jobs from Mexico to China on account of China's low, when you're paying low for labor, low labor, and how, for instance, China's is now aging, labor is now becoming expensive because China's poverty level is receding, so people are earning more, and now how those jobs are looking for places to go. How, for instance, Nigeria cannot benefit from that China's aging population and increasing labor costs because Nigeria's population is not skilled. So how, for instance, if Nigeria had a skilled population, Nigeria wouldn't have unemployment issues because jobs are flying all over the world looking for where to land. But jobs do not land in a country where people are not skilled. Forget about power, for instance. Forget about insecurity for starters, because some of those jobs can still come without physically coming. They can come via virtual platforms. So to have those understanding, the effects of globalization, the effects of globalization on climate change. We cannot recede, we cannot reverse globalization, but how can we build climate change enthusiasm in globalization? How can we infuse that? But I would also think that that job has specific global awareness for itself. So even though there's a general global awareness in terms of what's happening around the world, depending on what that job is, there might be certain, so for instance, it might be global awareness with respect to trade. It might be global awareness with respect to even slave trade, even as we speak. It might be global awareness with respect to the use of resources. It might be global awareness with respect to labor laws. It's basically having an in-depth understanding of what happens around the world beyond your country, to a level where when you talk, people know that you might not be an expert, but they know that you at least are following. I think that's what that job is looking for. And to do that really is easy, but it's difficult at the same time. To do that means that to constantly have your ears on the ground on what's happening, to watch news, to read up on different countries, to buy the right. One book can make you understand the Middle East. Of course, the Middle East will never be understood, but you know what I'm talking about. It can make you have a deep understanding of what's happening in the Middle East. One good book can make you understand the dynamics of politics in America. One book can make you understand the dynamics of Brexit. So to go out of your way to buy those books, one of those books will interest you to the point where you want to buy more, and then you take it from there. I think that's what that job was looking to address. I have some questions in the chat. I'm going to pick them out. How do we overcome the barrier and stereotype that's associated with Nigerian businesses, Nigerian online businesses? To overcome it, you have to build your own personal believability. I think I mentioned this in my book. You have to build your own personal believability. As a Nigerian, you have to understand that people operate with you from the place of distrust, because people have messed up our name. So you have to go out of your, normally when people meet in a normal environment, they actually meet based on trust. You as a Nigerian, when you are being met based on distrust. They do not trust you. When they said hello is a lie, they did not want to see you. They did not trust you. They are engaging with you because now they have to balance the most have black people here and mix it up with white people, blah, blah, blah. But ordinarily, if they had a way, they wouldn't want us to come on these places. Also, unfortunately for them, we Nigerians are very intelligent, we are very bold, we are very aggressive. We don't keep quiet. Our presence, and we don't keep quiet not just because we are loud. It's also because our brains are actually loud. Our brains are big. We know what we know. We are committed. We are strong. We are resilient. So responsibility is to, without necessarily saying that you're different from other Nigerians, to show that you're actually different. They are going to put you in situations where they expect you to take certain funny advantages, to say, no, I'm sorry, this is, did you say, no, actually, this does not belong because we already agreed this, so this is your share. So you must go out of your way to actually earn it. And that takes time, that takes patience, and that takes actually showing that difference, where to the point where people like, is this person actually one of these people? So it's a personal responsibility that you have to do. There's no general thing that I can say here that will make you look like Nigerians are not better people. Even if the government started to build around that, that would still take some 10 years for people to now start to see that, wow, that's changing with respect to Nigeria. Where now can I learn coding? There are many ways. There are computer schools around that you can go to learn it. You can also go, there are courses online that you can take on, Coursera, Udemy. Some of them, it's better to pay because then it's more in depth. It can be as low as $30 actually, and you can get started. Once you get started and you like it, you can start to explore other ways. You can actually start on YouTube, just some basic stuff that you can actually learn on YouTube. But if you have the resources, you can go on one of these platforms to learn. Before you know it, there are also, schools and like it's just, to take personal responsibility by going on the internet, go on Google. What is the best way to learn coding, or go on YouTube, how to learn coding. Just start from there, and then take it from there. And then before you know it, in 6 months, if you really dedicated to it, in 6 months, jobs are looking for you. Really and truly, jobs are looking for you. In case you've not noticed, programmers and people that code, they don't stay in jobs for up to 3 years. The reason is because they are constantly being dragged from one job to the other. You know what that means? They're being poached. I know what that means, that their earning capacity increases as they move, because I don't think anybody will leave one job to another job that they are begging them to come to do, and they will not be collecting less, except they are giving them equity. So it's a good skill to learn. If you can learn it, please do. How can young people position themselves and leverage on social media for impact and value? Well, I mean, to start out, for instance, by going out of your way to make value for yourself. You want to lead people. Have you led yourself? Have you led people? Have you changed things? Have you impacted the world? For me, that's positioning. Positioning, I mean, apart from people that have families that their names are big enough to, all you need to do is just go to school, speak a passable English, you can get some opportunities to do certain things. But ordinarily, you have to just first of all build that personal pedigree, build that antecedent. People start to trust you, and before you know it, more opportunities come your way. Um, free free code camp is the best place to start and learn, and it's free. So somebody just posted it, freecodecamp.org. So you can take advantage of freecodecamp.org for that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we have more questions on.
We have some people raising their hands up.
Yes, so let's go with there's Abu Talib. You can unmute yourself, please, and ask the question.
All right, thanks, Hassan. Thanks, JJ, for stimulating this very vital conversation. My questions are around creating advocacy for people to develop the necessary skill set for the fourth industrial revolution. I would like to know what your thoughts are about the best way to do that. Do you focus on people in early years who you know that in next 10, 15 years, if they have a change of mindset earlier enough, then they can quickly adapt for longer term impact? Or is it better to focus on the people who are already in the age group that can really change things, but unfortunately have already gone through the wrong training, so to speak? They are not equipped. But then, of course, we are very adaptable. But we are very adaptable for short-term impact. So do you focus on that, or you focus on people who are in their early years, and then you start creating that awareness for them to equip themselves with the soft skills? Just to know
I think all of them can exist at the same time. You can focus, for instance, on Gen Z and millennials, and also understand that there's already a generation that are 10-year-olds that are going to be 18-year-olds in 10 years' time, to also, get them started early. To also not forget that the fact that somebody is Gen X doesn't mean that they should not be taught how to go if they are showing interest and they are interested in learning, right? So I'd say that to understand that there are people that are currently 10 years old. There are people someone I interviewed for my podcast is 18 years old. He has some of the biggest hits in the country right now. But I see them and I realize that this guy was actually 10 in 2011 when I was already breaking things on the internet, right? So before you know,
Okay, thank you. Okay, Justin, please ask your question.
Okay, I'm very happy to be here. I hope, sorry, I just saw that I'm the only person from the East. I don't know whether it's another thing, so I don't want to offend. I hope I'm allowed here.
Of course.
Hello, Justin. It's an open conversation. It was organized by the Global Shapers Kano. So understandably, most people on the platform are from the north, but it's an open conversation. You could have joined us from anywhere in the world, but definitely pleased to have you, Justin.
All right, thank you. So one of my questions is, can we have this the recorded version of this section?
Yeah, we have a YouTube link where you could actually get access to that. So we'll share the YouTube link. Thank you.
All right, that's cool. One more thing, can I contribute?
Justin, we just have 5 minutes left, so let's just take one more question, and I don't think there's enough time. If you have one more quick question, I think it'll be fine. But you have to take one more question. We have to round up.
Okay, thank you.
So the next you can Tukur Shehu, you can ask your question. This should be the last question, and then we'll just we'll round up.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, Tukur. We can hear you. What's your question?
Okay. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes. My question is that like the way we are experiencing insecurity in Nigeria, and then the cyber security. So how can thoughts industry helps to tackle insecurity and the cyber security?
Tukur, I think there's I don't know if you've caught that, Omojuwa, but there seemed to be noises in the background.
Yeah, I didn't get his question. There was lots of noise. Did anybody get the question? Can you type it?
Yes, so Tukur, if you can kindly type the question, it would be much better.
Yeah.
We'll come back to it. So we have another person raising their hands. Opemipo Babatunde.
Opemipo Babatunde.
Opemipo Babatunde. Sorry.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, JJ, for also saving me. Anyways, so
yeah.
So sorry, my question is quite personal because I saw JJ make emphasize on soft skill, on coding, and I mean, for someone like me who's tried severally, who's attempted, getting that knowledge, and I see, it's probably not my strength. I don't know if you would want to kind of like let everyone know that, okay, maybe you should focus on your strength, or are you emphasizing, the ability to code?
Oh, okay, that needs to be said, actually. Thank you very much, Dr. Miko. By the way, I cannot code, and I don't intend to learn how to code. I cannot code, I don't intend to learn how to code. The reason why I emphasize coding is because I'm thinking that there are lots of young people here, people that are under 25, that I probably will learn how to code in the future, but I'm not pressed to code. The reason being that I have lots of opportunity to express my ability. I have many dimensions to express my ability. But when I said to learn to code, it's because I understand that coding will be the English language of the future. The way, if I was going to set up the Nigerian educational system now, for instance, the way they used to tell us you had to pass English and maths, or you had to do English and maths, you would definitely have to do coding. Because it gives you, so amongst all the other skills that you would have, it gives you this extra advantage to build things. Because what's coding really? Coding is what gives you the power to be able to build things in this economy, in this fourth industrial revolution, and the subsequent ones to come. Because the subsequent industrial revolution is not going to be built in the air; it's going to be built on the foundation of the fourth, right? So there are other skills that you have. Those of you that have human touches, you can get people to think, you can get people to act, you can build on learning emotional intelligence. These are the skills of the future. Those of you that are very good with presentation, you can build on how to be better presenters. These are very good skills for the future. Those of you that can organize people, that can bring people together, like organize a project, say the project will start at this time based on a particular budget and have it executed. These are skills for the future. So when I said coding, I didn't mean that you must learn how to code. I just meant in the sense that it's an essential skill now. And if you have the opportunity to learn it, please do, especially if you're a young person. I would love to learn it, but I have certain advantages now that, for me, for instance, if I wanted to build something today, I just need to hire someone to code for me. Or if I wanted something today, I just need to get 3 or 4 of my friends together, we put money together and we build it. But for a young person who does not have the resources in terms of the network that I have, who doesn't have the resources in terms of maybe the little naira and dollar that I have, being able to code gives you an advantage. For instance, VCs, venture capitalists that invest in companies, they actually go out of that. I know this because I interviewed them. I'm writing the book that is on that. They actually prefer to have a co-founder that has coding skills, because that will reduce the budget of building what they are building, because now they don't have to go and look for somebody to be building for them. And they can iterate what they are building without an extra cost, because that cost is in the owner using their time to make it better. So, it's like someone saying improve your English. And somebody will say, but English should go chop. Well, it's not English you go chop, but it gives you lots of opportunities, just being able to say things the right way in every sense of the word. If you are single, if you speak your English right, you meet the right girl, I'm like, oh my God, you probably don't even have money in your account, but she likes to hear you speak. You go to an event, somebody's presented well, you presented well, but you spoke better. That's an advantage. So that's the way I see coding, but in a much more layered way in terms of its ability to, like, you can literally use coding to build and do anything today and more so as the future arrives. Yeah, so thank you, Opemi, for helping me to clarify that. I don't mean that you must learn to code, not necessarily.
Thanks, JJ. Thanks.
Yeah, that other question that we couldn't hear before has been typed on the box by Tuko. He said, how would the fourth industrial revolution help us to tackle insecurity in Nigeria, like cyber insecurity, bandits? I'm sorry, JJ, you're muted. Yeah.
The strongest economies, Nigeria needs to invest in this infrastructure. As you would know, the strongest and the richest economies in this world, like the United States, like the UK, like South Korea, they are constantly getting compromised. So imagine if these people, for all their advancement, gets compromised. So it's a continuous commitment to building platforms and spaces that are safe for everyone. And we as a people, as a country, we must continue to invest in that. But having said that, I should also say that you as an individual must take responsibility for your own security. So one thing happens every other week. There are some of my platforms. Anytime I want to maybe log in on those platforms through another system, I actually don't remember my password. So I have to send something to my email to do. And I don't have a problem with that. I like that even me, I don't remember my password. And I change my password constantly. Also, there are things that people send to my phone that are not solicited, and somebody might hack myself. I help those people to delete those things because somebody might hack my phone. So to be conscious of the fact that when the Americas of this world and the South Koreas of this world can get hacked, to understand that whatever you have on your phone can be accessed. Let me give you a very funny example. Somebody sent me an email. Somebody sent me an email to say that they have nude photos of me. They've accessed nude photos of me because they hacked my computer, and they were mentioning that that I was masturbating, and they have all of those pictures on their phone, and they had videos. But no problem, that I should just send $1,500 worth of Bitcoin. They gave me their address to send the money, that I have to send it within 24 hours. If I don't send it within 24 hours, they will release my news. Now, if I was masturbating, if I was someone that was masturbating, and I also had funny pictures and videos of myself on my phone, bro, $1,500 is too small for somebody to be stressing me to want to post my nakedness on the internet. I would have sent the money. But because I know that I don't masturbate, so that person cannot have any video. Do you understand? I don't, apart from that, the things that people, some people just send the unsolicited stuff. I delete it immediately because I don't like to use my eyes to see bad things. So I know that person definitely must have done a copy and pasting where they just send to as many people as possible. And trust me, people will send stuff to them because people assume their privacy. So one of the things you can do, for instance, is your computer, cover the video screen. Always cover it. When you want to have a video conversation, maybe you want to go on Zoom, open it. But always cover it. Just assume somebody is trying to watch you. If there's any reason to be, if there's any space to be paranoid, it's this space. Just assume somebody is trying to watch you. So always, because the thing is, if you always opened your computer up and you were someone that masturbates, you would have sent that money because you just believe that this person definitely has something. Meanwhile, this person was just guessing. I posted the email I told people to send me an email. I was trying to help people do something, and this person had basically copied my email from Twitter, I'm sure, and then tried their luck. I did not reply them. I could not be bothered. I did not lose any sleep. But that's because I had not done anything that the person had dubbed. Because for the person to have a video, there must be an action. But I do know that most people do funny things when they are private, when they are in their private spaces. Now, I'm not here to preach to you to say, don't do those funny things. I'm here to tell you, cover your video, protect yourself, because you never know who is watching, and anybody can access anything. If America can be compromised for all their money, for the fact that they were able to the ones that actually built this fourth industrial revolution more than any other country, alongside China and the UKs and the Germanys of this world, for them to get hacked, who are you, an individual? So you must think that somebody is trying to hack you. You must think that somebody is trying to watch you, trying to snoop on you. So always cover what you can cover. Always use as your always use very, very strong passwords. Always do double verification. Save yourself. When it comes to the normal national cybersecurity, let's hope and continue to ask that the government does the right thing. But first of all, let's begin that charity in our personal spaces. Then, how the fourth industrial revolution can tackle insecurity in Nigeria, like cyber insecurity, bandits, and kidnapping. I think with insecurity in Nigeria, the first thing that needs to happen is data, identity. Nigeria needs to capture its people. We need to know ourselves. We need to know ourselves. We need to ID everyone. I'll give you an example. Somebody climbed my fence. I traveled out of the country. I came back. I checked my camera, and somebody had climbed my fence. And I saw the person. The person jumped over my fence, went to my neighbor's side, came back. The person did not steal anything, but the person climbed my fence at the wrong time. That nobody had a business climbing my fence at that point in time. I had the person on video, but so what? What am I going to do with the person's face? The person has no ID because we don't have a national security base. If you had a national security base, I would have sent the person's picture and it would have been supplied. The way if you post a picture on the internet, they will tell you the source. You know, this fake news, for instance, somebody uses an old picture. Somebody immediately says, no, this picture is from this place, from the blah, 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 blah. That's the way security would have worked if we had a database. They capture, look at some of these stupid guys, these bandits, some of them open their faces now. You collect the picture, you put it on a national database, everything pops out, the schools, if they attended the school, the families, where they live, where they had been to. And then, like I mentioned earlier, data makes everything easy. Data solves many problems. So it must really begin with ID. And when I ID, I don't mean ID in the way that government is. One of the challenges we have in Nigerian government over the years is that they are thinking about these things with respect to safeguarding themselves. So they are trying to snoop on me. We is not a national security threat, just that I have a voice. They are trying to snoop on you just because you might have a voice on the internet. They're not building these things to snoop on bastards that are compromising our national security. Because if they were, we should have gotten to that point where we have ID'd ourselves enough to be able to say, this is this person. So when you go to the airport, they can already ID you, just your face appearing. And that's, the Nigerian immigration just built a digital space, which is a step in the right direction. We must now start, piling up data on ourselves. We must now start integrating the data that we currently have, because we actually do have data. In the absence of a comprehensive national ID process, because the national identity card has not actually worked, I think it's become stale, and it's like something that is it's more or less dead, but it's alive, like strong, it just starts. In the absence of that, we need to integrate the data that we have. We've collected data for passports, we've collected data for phone, we've collected data for election registration, we've collected data for BVN. We need to start integrating all of this data. I'm hoping that that's happening, because it looks like Dr. Pantami is up to something, and I do hope that he's up to something. And then we arrive at a point where, to a large extent, we can begin to ID ourselves. Outside of that, you really cannot have this national security conversation, because if you pay attention to, if you watch, I know the women here, they watch crime investigation. I don't even know why they do, but I know a lot of them do. So when you watch it, you actually find out that when they say somebody has gone to do a crazy thing, they get an artist, first of all, they get people to describe what they saw. Then they get artists to create a kind of resemblance that might be close to that person. And before you know it, they compare that drawing to faces that look like them. Because some faces already were suspicious anyway, because they have a certain history. They hone into 2, 3, or maybe 4 names. Before you know it, they have their person, everything inside a day. Before you know it, somebody has been arrested. We must get there, but we cannot get there if we don't have the data, if we don't ID ourselves, down to everything.
Yeah, thank you so much. And just to round up, one last question.
My pleasure.
Imagine you are 15 years old now, if you had to go back as a 15-year-old, knowing all the things that you know now, what are the kind of things, advice would you give yourself?
If I was 15 years old now, for sure, I'd learn to code, for sure. I'd learn to code like a bastard. Pardon my French. I'd learn to code like, I'd be so bad at coding if I was 15 years old now. As a 15-year-old, I also knew that I could speak. So, it's just an added advantage. I definitely learned to code. Then two, I start to think of creating something, because now there's the benefit of hindsight. So I start to think of creating something that brings people together at scale, like an internet, money and internet, like a Twitter, like a Facebook, rather than be the person that is trying to be on those platforms. I'd actually be thinking of being the person that creates those platforms. Then three, I'll be seeking out friends to build the world with. As a collective, we as a country, as a culture, we have not learned the power of synergy. So all of us actually started out trying to do things individually. It is now that we're now coming together, trying to build together, trying to help another, trying to push one another. But if I was 15 now, I'd definitely start identifying intentionally friends that are thinking alike. Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Yeah, so if I was 15, I'd definitely, the third one, I'd definitely be looking to identify,
thinking along those lines and looking to build a future with them. Because for sure, by the time we're 25, we'll definitely be almost billionaires in USD.
Yeah, okay, I think just to sum up, you said learn to code, right? Like a BS. And then speaking fluently, speaking very well. And then, being having a creator mindset instead of a consumer mindset. So actually creating the platforms, just consuming it and using them. And number three, like associating with, and leveraging on friends and, people around you. So with that, I'll just like to say thank you once again. It's been an absolute privilege and honor to have you here at the Kano Global Shapers Soft Skill Series. I've definitely learned so much, and I'm so inspired to do even more. And you're a working inspiration for a lot of young Nigerians. So thank you so much. And I hope we can, do a lot more, activities together, going forward.
The pleasure is mine. It's been such a great time having this conversation. I have been privileged to be in spaces like this where conversations like this happen. And 5 years later, people come up to me to say that they started this and started that. So I'm absolutely certain that these conversations are not for fun. They're not for we've organized this event. They're actually for changing lives. And that's why I like for them to be practical. And I'm hoping that this has been practical enough because I tried for it to be. If it wasn't enough for you, I apologize in advance. You can go on Google, learn the rest, or YouTube, learn the rest, because no matter how much time we spend here, there's loads more to explore on the internet.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Do you have any giveaways for the people here? Maybe a discount on your book or?
I mean, if the Global Shapers Kano is looking to get the book in bulk to give to their members and their friends in Kano, I can, Hassan, you can send an email or a WhatsApp message. I can connect it to my consultant and we can make that happen for sure. That'd be my pleasure.
Perfect. So thank you. We'll be posting everything on our social media, everything we discussed. You can find a link, to this on YouTube, and we'll also be posting, the books, that available that we have, and we'll provide discounts with them.
My email is jj@thealphareach.com for anyone looking to reach out to me.
JJ
to do business minus, ask for money. JJ, 2 letters.
Yeah.
jj@thealphareach.com. CHE Alpha ALPHA reach REACH.com. jj@thealphareach.com. Yep.
alpha@thealphareach.com.
That's JJ. JJ.
Yeah, JJ.
Otherwise, I have another email I was engaging that with. I could reply the hub with that too.
Okay, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
All right, peace, everyone. See you next on the next soft skill series, which is on
Yeah,
the 3rd of April on Saturday.
Abdul Mumun from the Ghana Hub in Tamale. It's a pleasure to have you. Yeah, you just typed it. That's it there. Hassan just typed it. It's correct. Oh, yeah. Hassan typed it to my direct. Let me copy and put it in the public space.
Okay.
So
just wanted to make sure first.
Yeah, actually. So I'm going to just send it to everyone now.
Okay.
So that's it.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Everyone take care and see you
Have
next.
fun. Have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful weekend. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.